to another edition of Tech Tuesday presented by Delta Media Group, where our favorite version of Charles Dickens looks an awful lot like Gonzo from the Muppets. So, today we are going to go into your various featured listing display settings. So there's a whole page that kind of dictates settings like that. And the idea is we're going to go ahead and take a look at that page and show you the different ways that you can define featured listings to show up on your homepage. So, let's go into DeltaNet and take a look. Let's see, so to get to your featured listing settings, we're going to scroll down to website and then down to listing display. And from here, I'll just go ahead and run through all the settings. Kind of the primary function of this page is that you can control what kind of listings show up as featured listings on your homepage, and also what listings show up as your listings on your My Listings page if you have one set up. Now, the way the system knows which listings are yours is it's looking at the MLS ID entered into your account and matching up listings with that MLS ID on them. So, by default, it's going to consider those your listings and it's going to work to display those. But if you are the co-lister on some listings, it's going to pick those up also and should display those. And then you can use these settings to kind of fine-tune what shows up. So the first thing we have here is you can see administrator only because that's how it's set up on our demo site. But this allows you to create a mortgage link. So you may or may not have this option, depending on whether your company has it locked down to just a company. But what it allows you to do is put in a title for a link. So this is what people would actually click on. And when they click on it, it goes to this target or this link address. This will actually show up in the mortgage calculator area. Man, mine's not working yet today. So it's pre-holiday day, you know, or pre-holiday week. So this will show up on your listing detail pages in your mortgage calculator area and add a link that goes off to whatever mortgage site you choose here. So the company may define it or restrict it so that you can't put one in there. But that is what this option does. So you just fill that in, hit update. And now if we scroll down, this section deals with featured listings that show up on your homepage, as is evident here. And the first step is under feature type. You can choose what you want it to display. So if we click on that, we can see that I can have it display just my own listings. I can have it show my listings and then company listings if necessary. So what that means is, let's say my homepage featured listing display is set to show 6 listings, and I only have 3 listings. It's going to put my 3 on there, and then it's going to fill out with company listings for the other 3. So that's what this if necessary part means. Basically, if the display section is set to show more than you have, it's going to fill in the extras with whatever you choose here. Next, you can do all company listings. You can also do my listings and then office listings if necessary, so it'll pull just from your office instead of pulling from the whole company. You can do all of your office's listings, all IDX listings, that's how I have it set now. You can also do specific MLS IDs, so you would just, if I click on that, a field opens up here, and then I would just put in MLS IDs and separate them by commas. And it would look at those MLS IDs to decide what listings to show. And let's see, my listings except for specific MLS IDs. So if you wanted to show all your listings, but you have 1 or 2 listings that you don't want it to display as featured listings for whatever reason, you can do that here. You would select this, and again, just a comma-separated list of all the MLS IDs you don't want to show. This one goes the other way, my listing plus specific MLS IDs. And then lastly, you can just turn it off altogether so it doesn't show any featured listings on the home page. So there you go. So that is the first step. Now everything else in this section is kind of applied to that. So let's say, for example, I select all IDX listings here. Now I can select a market. So what that's going to do is if I have, well, all IDX listings is a kind of a bad example for this. But let's say I put in the market, Canton, Ohio. And if I want to add another market, I can. So let's say we'll do a zip code. There we go. So I can keep adding markets as I want, and what it's going to do is filter the list that's produced with this dropdown by whatever markets I choose. So since I chose all IDX listings, it's going to filter all IDX listings. So there's no restriction up here. It's just showing everything. But if I were to change this to my listings, what it would do now is it would just limit my listings down to my listings that are in these markets. So the idea is if I had listings in Canton and Massillon, it's going to show my Canton listings as featured listings, but not my Massillon listings. And those are the only listings it's going to show. So that's something to keep in mind on this page, that as you go down the line on these, there we go. As you go down the line on these, it's applying to the pool that's created in each one. So here is the pool that is my listings. Now show me just those in market, and then show me just those based on status and price range. So that's how this works. It is compounding the restriction as you go down. So go ahead and switch this back to all IDX. There we go. So now if I want to limit this down by property status, I can do that also. So active, contingent, and pending is what it'll show by default, but if I only want it to show my actives, I can uncheck those too. For price range, I can limit the price range as to what it shows. If I have this on my listings and I just want to show my residential listings, I can limit this property category to just rental, or just residential, I mean. So if I have residential and commercial or residential and land, something like that, I can restrict it to just one category. I can also enable it so that it'll pick up just lakefront properties to show on the in the homepage featured listing section. I can choose whether or not I want it to auto load. So by default, if let's say I'm showing 3 featured listings on my homepage and I have 6 total, every time you refresh the page, it's going to bring up new listings. It's going to randomly choose from my full set and just pick 3 of them and display them on the page. By turning on auto load, it'll automatically reload that section every 10 seconds. So that way, they don't have to refresh the page for it to load up the next set of listings. All right, you can choose the sorting in that section. So usually, or by default, it's by random, but you can sort that by price if you want. Scale images is something that you can go in, and if you have off-size images, and this is kind of a remnant of older featured listing displays, the new one handles it pretty well on its own. So this is not a feature you'll really need too much with the modular responsive themes. Atlas search, so you can show your featured listings as a different color on the map search. And you can also limit the map search to showing only your featured listings. And then lastly, you can choose how you want the featured listing banner to display. So when you're using the search results pages, when you just run a search and you're looking at your overall results page, and to give you an idea, can't type today. There we go. So if I run a search here and I'm on the results page, I have this featured listing banner that shows up. I can use that setting to determine whether the featured listing banner shows up on all company listings, which is the way it's set now, or whether it shows on just my own listings. Or I can just remove the featured listing banner altogether. And once I have the settings in this section the way I want, I'll just click the update button, and that'll save them, and then they'll take effect on my site. Now the next thing you can do is this is a similar section with a fraction of as many different options, but this one controls the listings that show up on your My Listings page instead of the homepage featured listing display. So for this, I have basically all the same options. Set on all company listings by default, but I can bring it down to My Listings, and then company listings if I don't have any, My Listings and office listings if I don't have any of my own, all office listings, specific MLS IDs, or the same options with My Listings excluding certain MLS IDs or My Listings plus certain MLS IDs. The one that is notably missing here is all IDX listings, because that's just a search at that point. You know, you're just, if your My Listings page shows all listings at the MLS, then there's no restriction on it, it's just a regular search page. So that option is not available. And then once you select the one you want, you can also limit this down by property category. So you could show a page, you could have your My Listings page show just your residential listings if you wanted. And you can also choose the default sorting. So price descending is the default on all the search results pages. You could have it by price ascending instead. So start as the lowest and move to the highest. And then there are a few other options for things that you can kind of specify on this page that deal with how listings are displayed on your own website. Property videos, you can show videos on all listings that have them, which would be company listings that have videos on them, or you can show them just on your own. If you have videos attached to your own listings, it'll show just the ones on your own, not on everybody else's. You can choose to show all virtual tours on all company listings, or just virtual tours on your own listings. You just select which one you want there and hit update. And then lastly, this has to do with an older version of the Open House page. What it will do is you can customize the message, or you would be able to customize the message on the old open house search pages. There are not a lot of people still using those, but because there are some people still using those, we leave this setting here. Now the open house search on the modular responsive themes is part of the property search. So there's nothing to customize because it'll just not return any listings if there aren't any. As opposed to being its own search page where it would return a message if there weren't any results. So there you go. That is the listing display settings page. So as always, thanks a lot for joining me. It's been great talking to you. So we're not going to have a new video or a new live video the next couple of weeks because we're coming into the holidays. So happy holidays, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. And we'll start up with new videos here in the new year. So go ahead and like and subscribe to our channel. That way you get notifications when we come on with that new video here in a couple of weeks. And if I don't talk to you, have a great holiday. Thanks a lot.